Anthony Joshua, let's be honest, Rob, becoming the bad guy in a sense. And, there was this huge long, Twitter thread of some fan, really went, deep with the, oh, this has been a marketing ploy by AJ, etc., to, be the bad guy, and that Ruiz Joshua, just like any sort of major fight, needs to play off a bad guy, good guy sort of dynamic, right? Ruiz can't be the bad guy in this case, unless for really deep hardcore matchroom fanboys. Ruiz is
he's trying.
He's trying, but I think largely speaking, just the optics of it, Ruiz is like the smiling, go happy, tubby kid. He's the kid from Up. That meme made him likable. Let's be honest about it. And I think there's a reason why people are thinking that this whole change, so to speak, in the branding, the persona of Anthony Joshua is a marketed ploy. I can understand why they think that. But before we get to all of that, let's sort of set this table or set the stage for really this heel turn by Anthony Joshua. First for going after sort of Andy Ruiz with some slide comments, and then obviously going after Lennox Lewis, and Lennox Lewis having a long, multi-day Twitter rant about it. Don't worry, guys, dramatic reading time. We're playing the music and everything. It is happening. But let's sort of get to all of that fun stuff. First up is Anthony Joshua on Sky Sports talking specifically about Andy Ruiz and whether or not he has power or not. And I thought this was fun. This was a little spicy, Anthony Joshua, which I got admit, me, Rob. I love the pettiness. I love the spiciness in combat sports. So Anthony Joshua adding some of that to his game and to his brand, I love it.
Were you surprised at how good Ruiz's skill set was?
He ain't that skillful. He's a good fighter.
He beat you?
Yeah, by
a
punch that was sent by the gods.
Were you surprised at how good Ruiz's skill set was?
He ain't that skillful. He's a good fighter.
He beat you?
Yeah, by a lucky punch. By a punch that was sent by the gods.
Were you surprised at how good Ruiz's skill set was?
Oh, that was so good. And I don't know if you want to separate this aspect of the story from the Lennox one, Rob, or if you want to combine them. It's up to you. Separate.
Yeah, I guess they kind of combine eventually because there's a whole sort of common thread. But this one was just sort of separate, I guess, from the because the Lennox bit opened a whole fucking can of worms. So, yeah.
Well, the Lennox thing, I'll be honest, this might be a shocker to some of our listeners because I think some people peg me as more of a hater for Anthony Joshua, which is surprising. But I think Anthony Joshua was completely in his right when it came to the Lennox Lewis situation, to be quite honest. I don't think he said anything really out of line. And to be honest, that is sort of the norm in just the entertainment industry as a whole. The old guard and the young guard sort of fighting, that infighting within the industry that's common in entertainment, period. Music, sports, movies, TV, you're going to see that dynamic. But this comment about Andy Ruiz was so good. And I apologize. The name of the interviewer again, Rob.
Anna Woolhouse.
Anna Woolhouse. Her comeback with, well, he beat you. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was so good. And I got it for a Sky Sports interviewer to have that, in a sense, mid-follow-up question. Kudos to her. Props to her for that. A lot of other interviewers wouldn't have just said that really obvious fact. Well, he beat you. I would have liked for her maybe to follow up. Well, he knocked you down 4 times. Was he lucky 4 times? Was each time lucky? But then again, we talked about this before. I don't mean to cut you off, and I'll stop after this point, Rob. We talked about this before, fighter talk, promoter talk, right? A lot of it's for show. This is for show. And on top of that, I think some fighters need to sort of say this in their mind, need to say it out loud, it's a trick they need to play. Because if they start letting in doubt, then their game falls apart. I know some fighters act that way. I don't know if Joshua's in that case, but at the very least, I just think it's fighter talk. It's hyping himself up.
Yeah, I think. The whole Twitter went crazy. Oh, lucky punch, huh? And just done that whole thing, and but whether in, like you say, Joshua's head, he felt he had to sort of make this out loud, say this out loud for his own sake, or whether he genuinely kind of feels it, because just before that he knocked Ruiz down and he came in for the kill. And was it Ruiz just in his head, fighting for his life, kind of, just winging some punches because, oh God, I'm under pressure, some evil sort of shell up and try and run or hold, and some, fight back a little bit. And so in his head, does he say, I had him hurt, I done this, I done that, and he landed a lucky punch, and from there on in, he was on crazy legs and it was all game over. So look, it's Joshua's opinion. Do I think it was a lucky punch? Not really. No. It's a boxing match. A punch is thrown. Can it be lucky? He's aiming to hit the guy that's in front of him. So, I don't know.
Now,
but it was just.
It was good.
He's a little antsy in this. In the interview a little bit.
He's antsy period right now, and which is fine. Like, it's his first professional loss. Like, that's going to happen. Let's get to the Lennox part and then sort of tie it together with his sort of heel turn, what it means, where is that coming from. But oh my God, this is so good. All of this is so good. This whole interview, if you haven't seen the full interview, go check it out, because it honestly is actually a pretty good, like, home network based interview, where it's like, I don't expect Max Kellerman to give like Terrence Crawford the hardest hitting interview, to be quite honest, or like Stephen A. Smith. Like, I just don't expect that. Same with like Fox and PBC fighters and vice versa. But let's get to AJ's comment on Lennox Lewis.
He's a clown. I don't respect Lennox.
I guess the likes of Lennox Lewis came back from massive losses.
Lennox
twice.
is a clown. I don't respect Lennox.
He created a legacy, though.
So am I.
That's what I was about to say. Is this all part of the legacy? Are you
It's
aware of how big the
nothing
legacy
compared
is?
to what Lennox is doing. Nothing. Me and Lennox aren't the same. My legacy is to sit back and enjoy the younger generation coming up, and not to really be involved. Just appreciate what it takes to get there. Lennox isn't like that. Me and Lennox are cut from a different cloth.
I guess.
Now, to that point, Lennox obviously had a pretty public beef that's still ongoing in a sense, but it's simmered down in obvious ways with Tyson Fury. Like 2016, 15, something around that, maybe 2014 actually. It was a minute ago, right? So
which Joshua let people know about by posting it on his IG with a swipe up link to the video. But yeah, carry on.
And on top of that, like, not just with Lennox, but like Mike Tyson and Deontay Wilder have had a very public feuding and beef for years now. This is just kind of normal in a way. I feel like most fighters at the very top, when they see the next guy come up and maybe push back on what their legacy was and beat it out in certain ways, they get competitive. I'll use that word, because that's what I think that's what it is. Like, that's the basic sort of human emotion going on here, is it's competitiveness. Like, it's the same reason why fighters could be friends one day, but the second they're now paired up to fight, it changes, because competition now is involved. And I think Lennox being probably the greatest UK heavyweight of all time, right? I feel like that's a safe thing to say. Maybe, I don't know. Patrick Conner might come out at me.
I mean, when he was winning, he was definitely
yes.
UK.
Well, he's not. He's not the best right now, of course. But
no, I mean, he's more Canadian recently.
Okay. While AJ obviously I don't think is near that in terms of legacy yet, he has obviously surpassed in terms of just the stardom. AJ is a much bigger star respective to Lennox in his prime. And
at this stage of his career as well. I don't
Yes.
think Lennox was done any of this by 22 fights or 23 fights, It was a bit further down the line. So
And to be, never did. Like,
No.
Lennox never was except for maybe Mike Tyson. I don't know the UK numbers there, but obviously I know the US numbers were insane there. But like Lennox was never a star in any shape or form.
No, not quite like this. Not like this AJ Brandon type level, you know.
No, and especially when like he was in the era of Tyson, Holyfield. Like those guys were so much bigger than he was. That Lennox was just the quiet guy that was there. That was the better boxer of the group, and there was the younger guy in the group too, right? Right. I like that was kind of like he was the chipper guy, just happy, like not really talkative, and great boxer, great jab. But it took him a bit to become something. Even then, I don't think he was really the marquee. While AJ has always been the marquee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But let's get to Lennox's ranting.
Retort.
God, it's so much. There's like, 5 different tweets of just him talking? God.
Well, there's kind of a timeline of sort of back and forth, kind of. But yeah, go for
I'm
it.
not going to go through all of it that you sent me because like there was a lot, like the IG story pictures back and forth. I know, like there's too much of that.
That was funny.
They were funny, but I think people in the know they've seen it. They've seen those pictures,
Maybe,
and plus
yeah.
it's kind of old. And it requires me to do more work on the show in terms of production to get those pictures up because they're not links. But digressing.
One of them is I could get you the other one, but anyway, heaven forbid you do a bit,
That's true. I was tired, Rob. Lennox Lewis coming back and saying, wow, he is right. We are cut. Oh, I need dramatic music. What am I doing? I apologize.
in a slightly Canadian accent.
Canadian accent is a hard accent, actually. Because it doesn't sound enough different from the U.S. accent to where, like, you can do it for me.
Just say, wow, eh?
I'm not doing it. Wow, he's right. We are cut from a different cloth. Undisputed wasn't something I, air quote, worried about. It was something that I went after until it was accomplished. But don't worry, guys. It keeps going and going. Lennox, again, disappointed in AJ's words. But I understand that this jealousy narrative was only fabricated after I criticized them for Wilder negotiations. All of a sudden, I'm a hater. Was it the shrug emoji? Ask who benefits from such a simple-minded narrative. Not AJ. Not me. Next one. I don't blame AJ as much as I blame the people around him that stoked the fires. I've remained at an arm's distance from AJ to respect that he wants to make his own way. I'm sure he also gets sick of the constant comparisons to me over his entire career. This is epic Carl Froch levels, by the way, guys. That's why I want to know. This might be passing Carl Froch levels of like, hey, I remember I did 80,000 people in Wembley. Lennox continuing, he is the first AJ, not the next Lennox Lewis. Like I said, I won't fall into that trap. Be pitted against him. He has a watershed moment in his career coming up, and all of this only serves as a distraction by the media. Notice how they only led with his comments about me. Actually, no, it was the Andy Ruiz punch too. Lennox. Lennox continuing, AJ has my number. If he ever wants to clarify what is being said in the media or show me where I'm wrong about something, my doors remain open to him. But just know that disrespect is not the answer to his frustrations. Gotta go catch a flight now. Bless. Is there more? Hold on, let me check. I think that might be it. No, there's more. There's
Yeah.
there's more. This so-called feud between me and Anthony Joshua is just what some people want to see. People want me to come back at this youth and put him in his place. But I just want to tell him to look around you and don't fall into those traps. Anyone in his ear about what I have to say are just distractions from the task at hand. Hashtag undisputed. They must know this creates more unnecessary stress. Don't be an obedient target to the things that take you off your individual path to greatness. Well, guys, that was a load of bullshit. And anytime that somebody says like, look, it's not about me, and then kind of like proceeds to talk about themselves a lot, it always cracks me up every time.
It's not about me, but listen to what I've got to say about me, kind of, or this is about me. But
and look, Lennox is now like playing, I don't know, like, oh, AJ's coming at me now, right? Like, not necessarily victim mentality, but like just like he's like, I am now the one being targeted here. No, you're not, Lennox. Like, you've been very vocal in the media, when it comes to anything this younger generation, besides Deontay Wilder. And then B, you're also a paid PBC commentator, which, connected to point A, makes sense why only one fighter out of the bunch you talk about in really high praise. Also, maybe Andy Ruiz as well, you talk about in high praise. Another Al Heyman heavyweight. So, like, the conflict of interest here for you, Lennox, is pretty apparent. And the fact throughout your entire tirade, at no point do you say, I know I work for PBC, but AJ, I respect you. I hope we can move past this. No, he really didn't say that. Like, the closest he got to that was call me and tell me where I'm wrong. And it's just, Lennox, God bless you. You're one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, honestly. Like, probably in the top 15 of all time. You can make that argument, but you're out of pocket here. And it's really hilarious to see you go on a multi-day Twitter rant about one interview. And then I'll pull up, Rob, I'll let you talk. I do want to pull up one thing that AJ posted on his story that was really funny. So,
you're going to do that?
Yeah. You can go for a second. I'm going to pull something up.
No, I mean, for me, boxing Twitter, I'm always on there, just looking for news and whatever. But the reaction to this Joshua calling Lennox Lewis a clown has been unbelievable. And people, you can't disrespect someone who's done what he's done in the ring. This isn't about what someone has done in the ring. This is about a guy's comments from a, supposed fellow countryman. And even if people agree with what Lennox Lewis has kind of said, or about Joshua's possible flaws, and if he thinks that's fine, and people say, but Joshua cannot come out and say this about a legend. But if he feels disrespected, of course he can. I've got no issue with it. This has just been blown up so crazy.
Look, in any walk of life, whether it's your work life, your home life, whatever, personal life, friend life, whatever it is, right? If you are feeling like you are being disrespected, you should address it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. And maybe like the one criticism I would have of AJ in this, and it's a very small one, would be like it's now becoming an issue. When, let's say, 3 years ago, when Lennox started mouthing off a little bit about the whole negotiation with Wilder, and before Lennox was a PBC employee, AJ could have handled it differently back then, and it never would have got to this equation or this situation because AJ wouldn't have 3 years of being pent up and pissed off at Lennox for just continuing to mention him.
Yeah. I mean,
in
again,
a disrespectful
another
manner.
thing. People are ripping AJ now for before it was, he's just the media darling, the media puppet, media trained robot. He just says the company line all the time. We want to hear the real AJ. Now AJ comes out and calls Lennox Lewis a clown. You can't do that. It's like, what can the guy do? You know what I mean? But it's been. I mean, he's been like roasted for this more than boxing Twitter has roasted fighters that we know has fucking beaten up women and shit. He's had more grief for calling Lennox Lewis a clown than like domestic violence offenders and shit like that. So
Absolutely.
This whole thing is just crazy. And to a point, what Lennox Lewis said about media, although a lot of the comments that have started all this is him being media, but Sky have put this out. There seems to have been a little bit of a die down on the whole Saudi Arabia thing and the whole Dillian White thing. That's very much lessened in the sort of fan forum talking about it. The usual suspects are still going, oh, it's been 31 days. Where's the B sample? And Saudi Arabia, human rights, blah, 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 blah.
Quickly, Rob. Those things are died down because there's not more information about it. So that's why it's died down. No, let me just mention some things. Those things are important, though. Like, Saudi Arabia's human rights atrocities are important to address. And AJ trying to go there for Andy Ruiz fight is a point of contention that we should have in the media. And just as a community overall, that we allow that we are okay with that. Secondly, of course, you're going to have, let's be honest, Rob, PBC Defense Squad on Twitter having a disparity in how they react to things. Of course, they're fanboys. Okay? They were tweeting about how amazing that John Pascal-Marcus Brown fight was, right? At no point in time did any of them really tweet about it, Marcus Brown's domestic violence offenses. You know, like, we know that. We know that, Rob. However, let's not minimize. There's no monopoly on suffering, on human suffering. You know, like, I know you're not saying this, Rob. You know what I mean? You know, but I think that there's a value to not really pushing back on the Saudi Arabia point, in my opinion. That's all. But sorry, continue.
No, all I'm saying is this is in some part deflected from that. This is now the big talking point. Yes. That's all I'm trying to say.
Because it's newer too.
Yeah, but AJ calls him a clown. That's trending on Twitter, going crazy for what 2 days now, 3 days now. And like I said, all I'm saying is there's less people still raising the Saudi thing. There's less people still raising
but then what's the the ultimate point of that is what's
saying because Lennox Lewis raised the thing that the media have put this out, that clip of him calling me a clown. And has this been used in a way to deflect from that? Like, you know, Sky Sports.
Okay. Now I'm understanding what you're saying. So I didn't understand what you're saying at first. So Lennox, others are sort of alluding that this has been put out there by Sky in a way to deflect from the Saudi backlash. Or at least there's some thought process attached to that.
Thought behind, because I was almost surprised that the Sky led with this and they'd done articles on it. Joshua said, and it was all there. Lennox calls Lennox Lewis a clown, blah, 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 you know, and I was kind of surprised because Sky sometimes don't, in my opinion, address certain things that might shed a little bit of maybe bad light to someone that's important to Sky in a way. They'll report it, but maybe not quite. But this was like, hey, everybody, check out this.
They pushed it. They pushed all the buttons for this to go.
Yeah.
No, I see the point. I didn't understand what you're saying. I found the picture I wanted to bring up because I thought it was funny. Anthony Joshua on his IG story always say it how it is. Assuming that is a spelling error there, or grammar error. A clown is a clown. He can wipe his makeup off. That heart remains the same. No squares in my circle, G shit only. I love how, like, ever since AJ went to LA that one time, he's trying to be a little bit more LA in everything he does. I can respect that. As an LA native, I can see the LA influence in AJ now. So I just want to say I respect that. However, please do not do that again, AJ. I just don't do that.
And then just another thing, like you said, people may or may not have seen it, but after a few tweets, Lennox Lewis then tweeted a picture of a lion, to which a few hours later, Joshua's on his IG story. That's why it's not a link, Matt, because it was just on his story. So I just screenshot it. But he done Simba sort of laying on top of is it Scar? I think it's Scar, right? Of the Lion King. So basically like the young lion keeping the old lion down, whatever. But it was kind of like, you know, Joshua with it. Not so subliminal that time, but he's sort of been sort of known for those kind of things. But I don't know. It's going to rumble on, I guess, for the time being. But yeah, how dare he call an old boxer.
It
a
so
clown.
doesn't matter. It so doesn't matter.
Oh no, right?
Like like the only reason this was the lead topic, because SEO purposes, it's Anthony Joshua and Lennox Lewis. However, it's pettiness. So you know me, guys. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna cover it like it's real, as like substantive news.
We could have gone with Oscar De La Hoya actually attending a press conference as well. We could have
Wait, he
done that.
did?
He did. He was there for the which one was it?
What press conference?
This weekend. Was it Munguia and Atley, or no? Maybe not. I don't know. But he was there. Little cap, little old man, sort of Yorkshire man cap, looking a little chubby. But yeah.
Oh
So
God.
Just Patty reminded me, that was all.
No, I understand. But hey, man,
King
Oscar,
Patty.
like he's out in public. That's a positive.